Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Real Franchise, a video series designed to deliver real information, real answers and real insights into franchising. The series is brought to you by James Home Services Australia. I'm the CEO and Justin is one of our owners and our head of new businesses. Together, we tackle all of the big topics in this series, totally unscripted, unplanned and unfiltered. It's no sales, no fluff. We just give you information straight up. Today's topic is all about responding to comments that we get on our Facebook page. As you can probably imagine, we get some doozies. And today we thought we'd address some of those. Now, sometimes this video comes with a caveat. Sometimes people do these videos as a bit of a pot shot at the person making the comment. That's not our intention. Our intention is actually to use the comment and allow it to open a conversation where we can provide more information, provide a greater context. And if you're watching this, you're watching it because you're genuinely interested in better learning about franchising and perhaps also about us. So this is not a pot shot at the commenter. It is designed just simply to help anybody interested better understand the context of franchising. And sometimes the best way to do that is actually to have those gnarly questions thrown at you and then having to, find a way to place that information into a conversation. So that's what we're doing today. So Justin, I'm going to dive straight in and I'm going to pull up these are just a handful that we have fielded over the last 6 months or so. And so let's dive in. The first one, Justin, is this one. Most of the profit goes back to gyms. That's not helping locals. I mean, let's just knock out the elephant in the room first. We're not gyms, we're James. So I'm not quite sure that this individual kind of knew where he was in the industry. However, I want to focus on that's not helping locals and that comment because it's clearly coming from a place where this particular individual thinks that as a large corporate, all of the profits are coming back to us. So, Justin, what's our model? Is that the case?
Absolutely not. And I can categorically say at the moment, and as CEO, I'm sure you'd agree that to date, 100% of the profits have been churned back into our business. All right. We haven't pulled a cent of profit out of the business. We have reinvested in improving our systems, improving our model. We were just talking before this video, like the things that we're changing and trialing, and that all takes money. You know, the computer system that our team use, I think we've invested something like $300,000 plus in the last few years.
Yeah, and that's not labour. That's not labour for people to actually build it out and implement it. That's just pure software cost and
So that's where any profit of the business has gone over the last 4 or 5 years since we've taken ownership. But you hit on a real point that doesn't go back to locals. That really grates at me because one of the things that gets me up every morning is we're both passionate about our business because it's genuinely helping people achieve financial independence, financial success. It's real people, real families in real communities that are making the money in this business. And that's exciting. That's what I love about this business. And, you know, and so many of these comments I know we'll talk about just come out of just a lack of knowledge, you know, and I encourage anyone that feels that way about a franchise, give us a call. We'll introduce you to a few of our franchise. Like talk to people who are in our franchise. Our website's got everyone's number. Give them a call. See how they feel. You know, there's plenty of opportunity to learn in this day and age, and just see how you feel. If your opinion is valid, do the research.
Yeah, that's right. So I have also another side to this particular question that I want to highlight. And in order to do so, I kind of got to get a little bit technical for a minute. And I want to talk about our business model because what I think this man might assume is that when we work with a business owner, that I think this is the assumption. We do the quoting, we organise any contracts, we do liaison with the customer, and then the customer pays us, and then we just pass like an hourly wage onto our business owners.
Yeah.
And I can understand how he might think that, because that is the model of some franchise networks in the industry. That is. And it's a very legitimate and valid model, but it's not ours. We do this differently. So business owners in our network own their own business, which means that as a business owner, you're fully responsible for all of the operational and day-to-day activities in running that business, which means that customer liaison is you, initial callbacks is you, quoting is you, pricing strategy is you. As a franchisee in our network, you have full control over pricing. And what I think this man might be assuming is that we are a network where we set the pricing, and that's not the case, because we're very, very focused on giving our business owners as much control over their business and their income as humanly possible. That's completely our philosophy. And so we don't set pricing and we don't collect revenue. That is all managed by the business. Now, in exchange for the services we do offer our businesses, which is the brand and the reputation and the system and our support and our business coaches and, somebody to lean on from an accounting expert's opinion, and we've got IT. And so all of those things, the business owners pay us a franchise fee. That's a small percentage of their turnover, and that is simply a business expense. Just like any independent business may choose to go and hire the help of an external business coach. They pay a fee for that. They go and hire an external accountant. They pay a fee for that. They go and sign up to external lead generation services. They pay a fee for that. So our franchise fees are just simply a business expense. Now, what that means is that our franchisees are in charge of what their income is going to be, and our franchise fee is a known figure. It's a percentage, and it doesn't fluctuate. We don't increase that percentage. It stays the same. So it's a known cost. And then so you take your revenue and you take out your business expenses, including our franchise fee, and then you get profit. That profit belongs to the business owner, not us, not us at all. So there is very much a truth to this comment, but not in our particular model, which is what I wanted to be able to highlight by talking about this comment. This guy's not wrong. There are networks that operate like that. There are networks where you can sign up and essentially you just become a subcontractor to them, and they send you the jobs and you just show up to the job on time. You do the job and the company pays you an hourly wage for doing that. But that's not how we operate.
Yep.
All right. Next comment is this one. Another short one. 25% to James or Jim. There's a theme here. We're getting confused. And then 25% to tax. No thanks. Lol. You can see my response. I love to have a little bit of fun with these. My response is, whoa, Christian, who's paying 25% in franchise fees? You're right. That would never stack up, because it wouldn't, right? So, Justin, let's talk about this. 25% to James. Oh, is our franchise fees 25%?
No, I think we're very open on this. It's 15% dropping to 10%.
Yep.
Right, which is one of the things I say to everyone that attracted me to James. Pretty much every other franchise in the industry has a set fee, which you're locked into for the term of your agreement. Doesn't matter what you're earning. With a percentage fee, what attracted me was it meant if I wasn't earning money as a business owner, well, James wasn't either, right? And this is why all those things you were just talking about, all the things that we do from a marketing, support, coaching, IT, we have to do everything we possibly can to help our business owners earn as much as possible, because the more they earn, we earn. But it's a small percentage, because 25% would stack up. And how I know there's other business models, like you were just talking about, other franchises where they do the quoting, they organise the contract. Yeah, well, they take 50 to 60% of that job. There's companies out there that I know that do that. And we've gone the other way. We help people learn those skills, and we work with them to help them improve those skills. And in doing so, they keep the bulk of the pie, so to speak, and end up with a good profit if they're following the systems. And we both enjoy that success. But yes, it's not 25%.
Not quite 25%, is it? That's a big number. It's a very big number. The second part of that comment was that the other 25% goes to tax. Now, I'm not an accountant. You're not an accountant. This is not tax advice. However, does 25% of your turnover, because that's what this comment is indicating, that your whole business turnover, 25% of that goes to tax. Is that the case?
No, simply. And this comment, this part of the comment is a very common misunderstanding that I find in talking to people, because most of us in Australia, or many of us in Australia, have only ever been employees. So we understand we get paid a wage and, 25% or whatever it is comes out of our wage depending on how much we're earning, and there's different tax brackets depending on how much we earn. So that's the understanding that many of us have. But you, in a wage, you're being taxed on what you've physically received, what you've earned. Mm. I think the easiest way to explain it from a business point of view, you might do 200,000 turnover in your business, but you haven't personally received all that money. It might have come into your business, but then your business to run has expenses. You're running vehicles, you're running, phones and IT and insurance and workers' compensation, and you're paying your own super, there's all sorts of expenses in there. And one of the beauties I find of being self-employed is many of the expenses that you have as a business expense, in a sense, you already had as an individual, but now you can claim from your business, whereas as an employee, you couldn't claim those expenses. For me personally, and this isn't taxation advice, but, check this with your accountant. When you have a home-based business, which is our business model, you've got to have internet, right? So that all of a sudden your internet, which you already had as an employee, now your internet is a business expense, which you're writing off. So what that does, sorry, I'm going down another rabbit hole here. But what happens is the tax you pay is on profit, not on turnover. And there's a very big difference there.
Yeah, difference. And I think where this individual's coming from, his background, it sounds like maybe his background is as an employee, in which case you're paying tax on what is paid, on what your full salary is. And sometimes that tax rate can be anywhere from 25 to 45%. In a business, you're paying tax on the profit of the business. So your income minus all of your expenses lands you with, hopefully, if you're doing it right, a profit. And that's what you pay tax on. You don't pay tax on the income. You pay it just on the profit.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. All right. Next comment. Okay. This is I think we already talked about this one a little bit in our response to the first one, but we can just perhaps sort of reiterate that just a little. The comment is, how much do you make from a job? And so I think where this is being asked from is that this individual, I think maybe she's actually doing her homework and she's looking at those other models, and she's probably seen the models that pay, per hour or per job, because those companies organize the job and just send it to her. So in our model, as I explained before, our model is you're in full control. And so you're in control of all your customer liaison. You're in control with your quoting process and your price setting, when and how you choose to do the job. In some of these other networks, they schedule the jobs in and you just got to be there on time. Whereas in our network, you've got full control over your own schedule, which means that you can make it work for you, and that you're not going to miss out on a job just because the time clashes with the family commitment that you've already got or something like that. So our model means that our response to this comment was, that's totally dependent on all of these things that you control. How much are you going to choose to charge your client? and what sort of rapport can you build with that client. We very much also base our service delivery on value. In our network, we are not competing on price. We are a premium service delivery, which means that everything that we do, the goal is to raise the perception of the value of our services so that our business owners can collectively charge the client a premium for the service because it is a premium. So there's a lot that we do in our model and in our training to help raise the prices that our business owners can charge. So how much you can make for a job totally depends on what you're choosing to charge. There's a couple of other things that I want to quickly mention is we do have a lot of tools and resources that we use with business owners to help us determine what they need to charge per job. And we look at what are your life expenses, what are your business expenses, and if you're working, say, 20 build hours in your business per week, what does that mean you need to be achieving on each job to cover all of your expenses? We kind of reverse engineer the calculations so that we know that, you need to be making $60 an hour to cover all your expenses or $65 an hour to cover all your expenses. And then anything above that, that's when we're talking about profit or, the numbers are different for everyone. That numbers can fluctuate significantly. So we have a lot of tools that help our business owners to understand what they should be charging. But there is no easy answer to that question. There's no dollar figure because that's not how we operate. Our business owners are in full control.
The one thing I will add to it is if this individual, and if you're listening to this and you're genuinely wanting to look at costs, we go through that in that information process so that you can work out cash flows and stuff like that. Yeah. But to me, it's one of the big strengths of our business model. I mean, my wife and I, we also looked at buying a coffee franchise, right, with a particular franchise, and the capital investment in that was in the vicinity of $750,000 just to get into the business. We have a subscription model, which I'll talk about some of the comments we received when we released that. But you're talking $1,000 upfront investment. You can't even compare. And the operational costs of these businesses, you're not operating out of a premises. You don't have shop leases, or our fixed cost, I guess, is what I'm saying, are very, very low in this business model, which minimizes your risk when you're starting a business. The lower your expense base, the better the chance, the lower the risk, right, of being successful. In my own cleaning businesses that I had with James as a franchisee, I found my chemical costs were only 1 to 1.5% of my turnover. You're talking very small, in their cleaning business, that's one of your major expenses. The reality in our business model, you, the business owner, are the biggest expense. Yeah. What you want to pull out of it as your wage or living cost, etc. That's the biggest expense. We've said what our fee is as a percentage. So they're a very, I think they're a very much safer business, particularly for someone to step into as a first-time business that wants to minimise risk. That you may want to maintain your capital for other investments and stuff like that. Even if you do have those sort of financial resources, it's an incredible return on capital if you follow the system. Yeah, because you're only putting $1,000 in.
Yeah.
And as we shared in our last podcast, every single business owner that we started last financial year that actually got out there and got going is still going today in our network. I don't think there's any other franchise in the country that could probably boast that.
I don't know.
And I'm proud to display that. But what a result from such a small risk base, capital base.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Yep. All right, next comment. All right, the only real winner here is James Home Services. You'll be working for peanuts and he'll be living the life of Riley. Justin, you are a co-owner in James Home Services Australia, the sort of the head office business. Are you living the life of Riley?
I think I'm very blessed, but I can assure you, I challenge anyone in the network to see if they work more hours than me. Like, I live and breathe this business. We put, and as I said before, we haven't pulled a cent of profit out of this business in 5 years. We have reinvested everything. So yeah, look, once again, that comment is, it's easy to, anyway, I won't go any further into that, but it's not true. No, we don't. And I just get paid a normal wage. You're my boss in my day-to-day. So I get paid a normal wage. Like, it's not, we work to ensure that our business owners are as profitable as possible.
Yeah. And also at this stage, the comment around we haven't pulled a cent of profit, it's a very strategically driven decision, We knew, or you and your business partner, and when I say we, I mean, I was there from the start. I was part of that due diligence team, and I remember the guidance that the due diligence team were giving to you and your business partner when you were looking at this, which is, this has enormous potential to be something really special, but you are going to need to be prepared to reinvest heavily because there are a lot of areas that need significant improvement. And that was our guidance. And to your and your business partner's credit, that wasn't just heeded, it's been implemented consistently over the last 5 years. There has not been a cent pulled out of this business to go to owners, and every single cent that we have made has been reinvested to continue the projects that we want to be working on, to continue to develop great software and IT that runs our business owners' businesses, to continue to develop out our system and our marketing and our ability to get our business owners up and started as fast as possible. There's an enormous amount of reinvestment. Now, there's a commercial reality to this too, because no business, including the business owners in our network, no business owner does this because they are a charity. Profit is not a taboo word. We kind of make it a bit taboo in Australia. We don't really openly talk about, the goal in business is profit, but it is, because guess what? If you're not making a profit, you're not sustainable. So for anybody listening to this, the messaging is not messaging, the actual truth of the matter is, no, to this point, not a cent has been pulled out. It's all been reinvested. But the commercial reality is that we are turning a profit. At the moment, the decision of the owners is that profit is being reinvested to continue to develop and grow the network. But we are profitable. Make no mistake about it, there is profit there. It's not wild, but it is enough that we are sustainable, and that's the focus. The focus is that we are sustainable and healthy enough that we can continue to do what we're doing, and we can continue to give lots of different people in Australia the opportunity to own a business in our network.
And I think, I hope for anyone that's looking potentially at joining our network, that should clearly demonstrate that the owners are committed to this for the long term.
Yes.
If we were in it for a quick buck, we wouldn't have been reinvesting the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we have. We would have been pulling it out and distributing the profits to the owners and,
Yeah.
But that's not been our strategy. Our strategy has been to invest, to grow a sustainable business that's really helping Australian families for the long term.
Yeah.
For long term, for them, for us as well.
So, and there is never any disagreement, between you and your co-owner and me as your CEO. The three of us have been on the exact same page from day one. We build this business up and we reinvest in it, and we take time to make sure that we're building something that's sustainable and as safe as it possibly can be for the business owners in our network. That's been our priority. We are never sparring in any meetings around what the strategy of this company is. We have all been on exactly the same page right from day one, and we remain committed to that same goal. Continue to reinvest, continue to build and work on and develop this network so that we are around for another 33 years.
Yep. No, that's good.
Excellent. All right, next comment. Actually, this is the last one, but then I think that you've got one up your sleeve as well. So last one from me. This comment here, totally ridiculous. If anyone needs a business coach to run their own business, they shouldn't be in business. So this is a comment that's on a particular ad that we run that talks about the value of the business coach. So in our network, for anybody listening but who hasn't sort of spent an awful lot of time researching, one of the things that we do as when you come into the network as a business owner is we assign a business coach to you. We have multiple business coaches that work for our head office team, and all of them have run successfully their own James business with staff, and they are now business coaches in our network. They've all sold their businesses and they've become business coaches. So every single business owner is paired with a business coach, and they are your go-to, they are your trainer, they are your lifeline, they are everything that you might need. They are the one person, I mean, you get a plethora of other experts around you that can help you, but they are the center point to your strategy and to your business growth and development. So what this person is indicating is that basically, if you need a business coach, you shouldn't be in business, you're weak. How do you feel about that comment, Justin?
I love sports. I've always been involved in sports, and it might, like, if I was talking to that particular individual, I would ask them to pick any top sportsman in the world in any field. You know, I think people I absolutely admire is Roger Federer. You know, was top of the game for a decade or so. You know, number one in the world. He's the number one. There's nobody better than him at his craft. And yet the entire time he paid huge amounts of money to have various business coaches, tennis coaches working with him, right? It's exactly the same thing. You pick any sporting team, you know, the moment the sporting team isn't, like every sporting team, you know, I follow rugby league, they've all got a coach, and it's really interesting, you know, when the team isn't performing, the person in the spotlight is the coach.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody and even, you know, I know you follow a lot of different CEOs internationally, right? Everybody that's performing at a high level, I would say, has a mentor or a coach actively. You know, to me, the really smart people in business actively seek out someone who can coach them, because we all need it. We all need that support. We all need the mentoring. We all need, you know, I was saying to a guy just yesterday, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And often in business, particularly, and in life, we can't see the forest for the trees. Right. And the beauty of having a coach, and particularly in our case, all of our coaches have been franchisees in our network for over 5 years, have built their businesses up, sold them. They're the right sort of people that you and I have said, yes, we want to retain you as a coach to help and mentor others. So you've actually got an expert who's done it before. And when you're in that forest going, far out, what's going on? What do I do here? You've got someone that can come along and say, hey, how about this? Let's try this. Let's do this. What about this? Hey, you're doing really good here, but don't forget this. You know, that's what gets that extra performance out of a business, out of a sportsman, out of a football team. Yeah, it's the 1%ers. Yeah.
Someone once explained to me that if I had, and this was probably about 10 years ago, and I was sitting down and having coffee with somebody who I had reached out to and connected to, because 10 years ago I was very young and very green, but had ideas of where I wanted to go with my career. And I reached out to this woman because she was really impressive and somebody that I looked up to in our local area. And I reached out to her and I said, could I shout you a coffee and pick your brain for an hour? And she agreed, which is wonderful. It's amazing how many times when you reach out to somebody like that, they will offer their time up. No charge, no expectation, because people love helping people. And one of the things she said to me that absolutely I can still hear her voice telling me this, Rhiannon, you have to build your own board of directors. Basically, if you want success, you need to build a team of people around you that you handpick. And each of those individuals is there to give you a different aspect, a different skill set, a different perspective, different energy. And I took that away and I realized that now I have built around me a team of people. And there is a certain person that I go to for really hardcore business strategy. This is a really tricky problem. What do I do? There is somebody that I go to if I'm having a bit of a personal, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Imposter syndrome is kicking in. And I go to that person because I know that she's going to give me that energy boost and that, she's going to pump me up a little bit and help me to believe in myself again in that moment. I have this group of people that over the years I've built as a network around me to help me in no matter what situation I'm in. And these people are outside of James Home Services because they bring in that additional perspective to me. And I am so much richer, wiser, more grounded. I am a much better CEO for you and in this company and for our business owners. And I am a much better leader for our head office team because of the insights of the people around me. We do that for our business owners. We do exactly that. We build you a team of experts that can help you with almost any challenge you have. And your business coach is the head of that team. But we've also got people in our team that can help you with anything marketing. We've got people in our team that can help you with anything administration or insurance or like legal compliance. We've got people in our team that can help you with bookkeeping and accounting. We've got people that can help you with HR questions. And then there's me. And if nobody else can help you, I'm going to figure it out because that's part of my job. We do exactly what that woman told me to do 10 years ago. We do that for our business owners. We build them a team of experts around them so that they can focus on being the absolute best and most effective version of themselves as a business owner that they can possibly be.
Yep. And I guess to put it into numbers, I'm going to go out on a limb here, right? My best guess, and this is based on some stats out of industry, but, in the last 12 or 18 months, those people that have started cleaning businesses and lawn and garden businesses in Australia on their own gone, I don't need a business coach. I don't need a support, and we're going to get to the one I want to talk about, how hard can it be?
Yeah.
Well, of those that started, best guess, and this is Justin Kelly guessing with his limited knowledge, but based on some industry data, 60 to 80% of those people will have failed by now and are off doing what they used to do or something different, right? Their business flopped, 60 to 80%, right? We just said of all the ones we started last financial year, everyone's still going strong, right? And still in the network. And that's just two very different ends of the spectrum, right? What causes that? It's not just the coaching, but that's a huge component of it. Having someone walking beside you that has knowledge, that has your best interests at heart. Yep. It's what we love about this model.
It's frankly one of the savviest business plays that you can make, getting yourself a business coach. And, in our network, you don't just get a business coach, you get a whole team and you get a system and you get a brand, you get a running start, right? But at very least, if you're listening to this and you land up thinking in the next 6 months, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot going it alone, please invest in a business coach. Please invest in building your own board of directors, because if you think you can go it alone, you know what, you probably can. People do start these businesses on their own every day of the year. But if you don't want to be part of the statistic that fails, go and get yourself a great business coach that you get along with, that is aligned with your goals and that's going to help you to get there, because I can guarantee that will infinitely increase your chances of success in the long term.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about you got a comment, and I love this one, but I don't remember it as well as you do. So what is it?
So for a few years I was responding to the comments, and the challenge with Facebook, as we discovered, is the notifications and comments disappear after a couple of months. So this comment came just before Christmas, because I remember I was sitting in the lounge at home on the couch and had the Christmas decorations around it. And someone commented on one of our ads, how hard can it be? Like it's just lawn mowing, And it's like, that's the task itself is lawn and garden, right? If you have a lawn and garden business, obviously. But that's such a small part of a business doing the task. I really, if you are watching this and you're thinking about having your own business, great book I keep mentioning is called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Go find that, read it. And it talks about how the task is like 5% of the success of a business, being able to do the task well. And it goes through example after example of, you can be the best mechanic in the state and start your own mechanic shop and you bust in 12 months. You can be a great doctor, start your own practice, and it can all fall apart because the task is such a small part of actually running a business. Yes, it's easy to cut grass, and the industry average, as we've spoken about before, is below 65 an hour. Data that we get shown and industry data out there says that's the average hourly rate. Well, across our network, our guys earn, I'm not going to quote the exact rate, but it's nearly double that. Like, why? Because of all the help, the coaching, the systems, the support that we give our people and really help them grow a better business. That's the value. If you want to just earn very basic money, less than a wage that you're in currently, go start your own business would be, do it on your own. Yep, 60, 80% chance you'll be failed in 12 months. Like, if you don't get coaching and support and all the things we're talking about so far. So, yes, it's not to slam that person, but...
No, not at all.
Acknowledge.
I think he just maybe he just hasn't been in that, and it was a man. I'm not assuming it was a man because I do remember we've talked about this before, so that's not an assumption. But I think maybe he made that comment from not having done it himself. It sounds like potentially he hasn't started a business himself before, because it's so easy to think, as long as I have people in my own family and my own friendship circles who are excellent tradespeople or excellent at their skill, but have really found it challenging when they decided to step away from employment and start their own gig, because all of a sudden you're now responsible for all of the legal compliance matters. You need to have insurance. You need to be workplace health and safety ready. You need to be, if you're employing people, the legislation that sits around HR is enormous. You need to understand all of that stuff. You also need to understand how to market, where to market, how to generate content, what content, where to push it, what message, when you actually get a lead, what do you do with them? How quickly do you need to call them? What do you say? What if you're not really a great communicator? How on earth do you handle it when someone pushes back against your service? Or what if you give them a quote? What if you underquote? What if you overquote? What if you give them a quote and then they say, no, it's too expensive? How do you handle all of that? And then what happens if they don't pay you? And I could go on. We are literally, we are the tip of the iceberg in all the other stuff that a business owner has to be across. And it's the 95% that you don't expect, because most people go in going, I know how to build, I know how to be a hairdresser, I know how to be a mechanic, I could do this, surely. And then it's the 95%, and they get in and they realize that all of that distracts them from the fact that the doing is not all of it. In fact, the doing is just 5%, and the other 95%, there's so much going on. And, how is our network able to achieve such a significantly higher, hourly rate? Is that our system is designed through very strategic moves on our part to elevate the value of our business owners in our network. It's no mistake. And there's no real secret either. It's basics, it's fundamentals, but it's just getting it right. If everybody could do it, everybody would, but everybody does not. And so starting a business is nothing to be glorified. It's hard work, and sometimes that support of a franchise network could maybe mean the difference between success and maybe having to transition back into employment later because it didn't quite work out for you the way you hoped.
Yep. 5 minutes before we started this meeting, I received a text message from one of my best mates who you've met. For years, I encouraged him to go out on his own. He's really handy. He started his own handyman business just 12 months ago. So scared. He started it. So, really good at what he does. He is absolute. And his text was, can we please catch up for brekkie tomorrow? I need some help. He's drowning. He's booked out 3 months in advance. He's earning a good hourly rate. He does a great job. Like, he is just, everyone looking at him would go, and he's making plenty of money,
Yep.
but he's seriously considering shutting it down and going back to a job.
Oh,
right?
no.
Now, this is exactly what we're talking about. How hard can it be? Well, for him, he had all the technical skills, all the ability. You know, I know what I'm doing. I'm smashing it. I don't need help. I don't need a coach. That's just not me, right? That was the comments I've been receiving. I mean, I'm not going to solve all these problems tomorrow, but what the advice that you've just given with the board of directors, create your own board of directors, things like that, is exactly what he needs to do.
Yes.
It's to slow the game down, get some systems, the stuff that we do with our business owners.
Yeah, get some perspective on it, get somebody else's thoughts. Systems are critical. I was listening to a podcast the other day and the comment was, you'll make your first $100,000 out of sheer hustle.
Yeah.
You make your next $900,000 out of systems. And that is so, so true. There is nothing glorified about, you know, it's not easy to start a business. We're not trying to glorify starting a business or whatsoever. It's hard work, you know. The rewards can be there if you're prepared to tolerate the pain during that startup process. The rewards can be there. That's why people do it. But, you know, that first 12 months, 24 months, sometimes only 6 months for our businesses. It really just depends where you're sitting. But that first period of time where you're trying to get those wheels moving, it's hard. You got to hustle. You absolutely got to hustle. But then the systems will take over. If you've been smart enough to develop great systems, and spoiler alert, this is what we do. This is what we are excellent at. I mean, Justin, you will attest to the fact that if there is something that could be systemized in this network, it has been systemized. There's nothing left unsystemized in our network. And that's because we can be so much more effective if we've got great systems. And even at a head office level, it frees up, if we've got great systems for our business coaches, it frees up so much of their time and their headspace away from the admin to be able to actually spend face-to-face working with business owners, helping business owners. So even at our level, systems is what absolutely saves the day. Hopefully you can give him some really helpful guidance tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did you have another comment as well?
Well, this one's not so much, I don't think, to talk about, but it was just amazing when we first released our subscription model and all that marketing started. You know, I was responding to the comments on Facebook. Oh my goodness, everyone just thought we were scammers and scamming people, and this can't be real. And that was, you know, this whole invention of a subscription model was such an awesome thing, and it really surprised me, the response from the keyboard warriors out there, that we were just a mob of scammers. And, you know, time has proved that, you know, and we had to literally change, didn't we, our messaging and our marketing to really just
to try and settle that down. Yeah, we didn't anticipate that, did we? I mean, we maybe went about it a little bit naively. We maybe kind of thought, oh, well, we were so caught up in, oh my goodness, we've genuinely come up with something that's new, fresh, the industry isn't doing it. And we were so excited to launch something that made business ownership even more accessible to everyday people. We were so excited by that we didn't actually stop to think, oh, what are the 1% going to say about us? We didn't really think about that. Now, in hindsight, we probably should have, but you're always going to have the 1%. You're always going to have, you know, the 1% that are critical of what you're doing. And I've learned now that that's part of it. And I've learned now to embrace it, you know, because the 1% now, you know, the ones that we just talked about, it is only 1%. Yep. Okay. Sometimes it's pretty harsh. And sometimes I read those comments and I think, really, like, we're busting our ass to try and do the right thing here. Like, you really got that opinion, you know, how about you go watch a couple of our videos? How about you actually talk to us and then have an opinion on what we're doing? But the 1%ers also give us this beautiful platform to be able to explain our model, because someone said to me when we launched subscription models, someone said, oh no, you're in completely new territory in terms of your marketing strategy now, because now you're trying to market a product that your audience has no idea what this is. There is no baseline, there is no benchmark, there is no one to compare to. You know, if you're selling a book, everybody knows what a book is. If you're selling a Driving lessons. Everybody knows what a driving lesson is. If you're an online retailer selling clothing online, everybody knows what you're selling. No one knows what you're selling anymore. The subscription model totally flipped the cards. No one understands it. So now your marketing has to totally change. You have to completely re-educate an entire country on what you're offering. And so that was a really critical piece of advice that I got from my board of directors, which was your marketing strategy needs to change. You can't just roll something out new, but do the same kind of thing marketing-wise. The messaging is not just brand awareness. You're in full-on education mode. And I think what we saw was just, a higher proportion of people questioning what we were doing. And I get it. At the time it hurt, but now looking back, I understand it. I understand that I understand how it looked, And
I look forward to seeing the comments now on, we've just released the new marketing campaign on We Help Them, real life stories of people across our network and just what it's done for them.
Yep.
We Help Them is the marketing campaign. And just going to be interesting to see. We might have to do another episode like this of
follow up. Yeah.
What that brings out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, look, this one's been a long one. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for investing 40 minutes of your day with us. I hope that you found some value in that, and hopefully enough value that you join us again very soon for another episode of The Real Franchise.